Hi, y'all. I'm Stephen Council from the Wildcat Welcome Board of Directors.
And I'm BB, a resident assistant or RA here on campus.
So welcome to today's episode of Northwestern Hype. Today we're going to be talking about living on campus and roommate dynamics. So first, let's talk about the big decision entering college, pre-selected roommate or random roommate.
So as you all probably know, all of the class of 2025 and incoming transfer students, shout out to my homies, will live on campus during the 2021 to 2022 school year. However, whether or not you're living with a pre-selected roommate or a random roommate is up to you, and neither of these is the right choice. Maybe you knew somebody from high school coming into Northwestern, or maybe you found someone online, or maybe you want to get to know someone completely new, and all of those are good choices. If you're going in with somebody you know really well, even if you think you know everything about them, I recommend still going over basic boundaries and expectations for each other's, even if it feels silly to do so with someone you've known for a long time. If you found someone online, although you may have already spoken about what kinds of things you want to get involved in here, you should also talk to them about how they're used to keeping their bedroom at home and how they want to live now that they're away from home. For a completely random roommate, if you can find them online beforehand, that's great, but otherwise just come in with a positive attitude during move-in and set time aside once you get to campus to really get to know them and talk about housekeeping things. Your roommate doesn't have to be your best friend, but it's always better for both of you to at least have clear expectations of how you'll treat each other and the room.
I was coming from Virginia to Northwestern, not really knowing anyone who was going to be here. So like going back and forth between that random roommate to try and find someone on the Facebook group. And I ended up talking with someone who was going to live on North Campus and I wanted to live on South. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do random. Like you're saying, BB, sometimes you can't even find them online. This guy who I was paired with had no social media presence whatsoever, like not even a Facebook, nothing. So we just like emailed each other back and forth a couple times. And yeah, I feel like we came very much wanting for it to just be a good vibe and like respectful atmosphere. What was your like coming in experience like?
Yeah, so I actually went to a different school my first year of college, and that's where I had my first roommate experience. And at that school, I was randomly assigned 3 roommates, and I was in like the worst kind of room on campus in a 1-room quad, and we all had like lofted beds, and it was like a tiny room. And I was definitely nervous that we wouldn't get along, and if you're not getting along with 4 people in a tiny room, that's a big problem, obviously. But I was very pleasantly surprised that they were all very nice girls, and we made the most of our small room. And I think we really fostered a good environment by filling out a roommate agreement at the beginning of the year. And we always made sure to communicate if someone wanted to have a friend over or if someone wanted to grab dinner or study together.
Yeah, I think that's really important, trying to communicate and like work through whatever comes up, because no matter what it is, coming into college is going to be a different experience. Even if you had like a boarding school vibe beforehand, there's always going to be something that comes up and something that arises. So yeah, totally good point about just figuring out how to work through them and communicate with them.
One of the biggest challenges I've seen between roommates as an RA is when one roommate violates the terms that the other roommate has. So whether that's staying up late playing music or inviting friends into the space when the other one has a big test the next day or something else, it can be hard to stand up for yourself and tell them that something that they're doing is making you uncomfortable. And that's why I found it so helpful to have that roommate agreement at the beginning of the year. There was one time that one of my roommates wanted to have someone sleep over, but in our agreement, we had decided that a couple of the others of us weren't really comfortable with that. So when she asked us if it was okay, we felt comfortable expressing our feelings to her. And since she had previously agreed to that, she wasn't upset with us. And we carried on without any harbored feelings of resentment that may have risen if we had not had that agreement. And as an RA, we can also help you navigate these situations. So whether that's you coming in to have a casual chat with your RA, asking for advice on what you should do if you're having some kind of disagreement with your roommate, or if you're having some kind of sit-down chat with your roommate and the RA for like a more serious issue, whatever the case is, your RA is there to help you and try to give you the best residential experience possible.
Totally. I think that's important that you brought up that like it can be serious, but it also can be like very low-key, not a big deal. Just like, hi, do you have any advice on like this thing that I'm pondering? Or like even hit them with a hypothetically, if my roommate were to do crazy thing. Yeah, RAs like you are a great resource there. And then one thing that pops up, and I think a lot of people coming in feel a lot of pressure on, is like that idea of, should you become best friends with your roommate? Like, what should the vibe be? Is this going to be like the person you're going to everything with? What do you usually see like most typically happening with that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different wide variations, like people becoming best friends immediately as soon as they move in with each other, doing everything together. And also people who were just like, this is the person that I share my room with, and we respect each other's boundaries, and that's perfectly fine. And I think both of those are good roommate experiences. And if you don't end up being besties with your roommate, that's totally fine. There's so many other amazing opportunities on campus. I recommend that everyone go to the org fair in the fall and try to keep in touch with people in your PA group that you liked, or as soon as classes start, make study groups and then really try to foster friendships that way too. Fall quarter can feel scary and sometimes overwhelming for a lot of students, but if you put in the effort, you'll definitely find your niche and your people.
Yeah, and that effort can look like spending time with your roommate, but it also like doesn't mean that you have to throw away some things that you're interested in doing when you're coming to college to like spend time with them. Totally agree about like trying to get out and see clubs and orgs and things like that. I think putting less pressure on the roommate friendship at the beginning can honestly like lead to a more naturally developing friendship, because often you'll be with them for the full first year. So good to like let it take its time, run its course. Doesn't have to start at the very beginning. Yeah.
If you don't put pressure on it, I feel like that's a much better way to foster an organic, good, healthy friendship. And also part of our jobs as RAs is to host different events for the buildings or the floors that we cover. So if you're looking for things to do, whether that's with your roommate or not, reach out to your RA. There's also a lot of different events happening based on the area you live in. So if you live in like the Northeast area or the South area, there's big area events. Or if you're in a res college, they're always up to exciting things. And if you keep an eye out for all the opportunities offered here, you'll definitely find something up your alley.
That's well put. Cannot recommend enough, like taking advantage of the great RA activities and things. I have like such a soft spot in my heart for like the 11 p.m. pancake breakfasts that my RA would hold in the kitchen in our dorm. Yes, just there's excitement to be had everywhere. Anyway, thank you all for watching this week's episode of Northwestern Hype. Please like drop any questions that you have for me or BB or the rest of board /RAs in the comments. Thank you, BB, for joining us today, and go Cats.
Go Cats!